Subscribe to FutureMoneyTrends.com today to receive our weekly wealth digests, expert interviews, and to read monthly investment and income-producing ideas. FutureMoneyTrends.com, smart money invested in future trends. Greetings and thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here to discuss Bitcoin with Max Wright. He wrote a book called Bitcoin Revolution. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get on with it. Bitcoin, a lot of people, this is a controversial issue for a lot of people because it's a new idea. And of course, we had the violent swings over the last few weeks, or months now. But it's actually been positive if you owned early on, or even last year this time. But a lot of people are fearful that the government's going to attack it. What makes you not fearful that the government is just going to pump $500 million into it and then hit the bid all the way down?
We'll hit the bid all the way. Okay, the only way you can manipulate the price of Bitcoin is to buy it and then sell it. There is no derivatives market and there is no secondary market with Bitcoin as of yet. So it's a very, very pure market. So you could cause a crash, I guess, by buying lots and dumping, and you can manipulate it that way. But in the buying of it, you're going to send the price up as much as you do before you bring the price down. So that's on that. With regards to resisting government violence, I think Bitcoin is a really, really unique, to me it's a unique currency in all of history. It's never happened before. So the analogy that Bitcoin advocates use is with regards to Napster. We all know Napster was a great file sharing tool, but it was run out of a central server in a company. There was a CEO to harass, there was a company to harass, and the government can send in men with guns and force them to unplug the server. Service is over. And I'm a big gold bug. I own lots of gold and silver, and it's a cornerstone of my portfolio, but I'm aware of the fact that gold and silver and other precious metals is susceptible to violence. And we've seen that with e-gold being shut down. We've seen that with goldmoney.com offering a great service where people can transact gold electronically, which that could make gold and silver the currency of the future in a globalized world. But for the fact that it's so easily susceptible to violence, government sends in guys with guns to destroy those businesses or at least harass them enough to turn off those features. Bitcoin, in the same way Bittorrent solved the problem for Napster, it was decentralized and there was no one to harass. There's no you have to put a policeman in every bedroom and every house in the country or the planet to bring down BitTorrent. So too with Bitcoin. There is no one to harass. There is no CEO. It is a distributed peer-to-peer network that authorizes and guarantees the sanctity of the network. And so for that reason, it is incredibly resilient to violence. And I find it very, very interesting that at a time when my expectation is we're going to go through a currency crisis and currency wars like we've never seen before, there's something has sprung forward in the free market world, which is a currency resistant to violence. And to me, that's very exciting.
Most important thing for a currency is it's a medium of exchange. Are we seeing that aspect, that role grow for Bitcoin?
Absolutely. So that's a really interesting thing. With regards to the uptake of Bitcoin, it's going to follow that very smooth S-curve of, there's the pioneers and then the early adapters and the masses and the laggards, and that's a very smooth curve, and we're witnessing that happen. More and more people are accepting Bitcoin every single day. Mm-hmm. We're still in the very, very early stages of that. Now, what we're seeing on the price side is something very, very different. That's going to be extremely volatile, and I'm expecting it to stay extremely volatile. And the reason for that is, let's say when digital cameras was, that revolution took 5 to 10 years to replace all film cameras. When that revolution took place, there was no opportunity for greed and to make tremendous money for the consumer. You didn't, this is the greatest technology ever. I'm going to buy 20 digital cameras and do it. I'm going to borrow money that I don't have off people just to get some more because it's going up so fast. And then at the first sign of a turn down, you soil your pants and you throw all your 20 digital cameras out the window. That doesn't happen with those kinds of digital revolutions and technology revolutions. But with Bitcoin, you have that. The value of Bitcoin is how often you can, and how many places you can use it as money. So that's that smooth S-curve, like with a digital camera. But the value of Bitcoin is being changes drastically depending on people's fear and greed. And that is going to see Bitcoin have extremely high highs and extremely low lows. It's going to be very volatile with lots of peaks and lots of troughs, but I think ultimately on its way to $100,000 per Bitcoin valuation.
People hear you say that and they go, well, how can that be? How will somebody buy a piece of toast, from Starbucks with a Bitcoin? So could you explain that to them?
Right. So Toasted Bitcoin is not available yet, but there are many pubs and bars and clubs and physical stores right now that will accept Bitcoin for a beer, for your lunch, for all sorts of things. And like I said, we're very early on in that adaptation stage, but more and more businesses are coming online all the time. So there's not too many things you can't buy. Like toast from a specific store like Starbucks, no, you can't. But you can get legal services, accounting services, you can get all kinds of products. In fact, you can buy, there's services that offer, you give me Bitcoin and I'll give you an Amazon store credit card, a gift card. So you can buy anything on Amazon with Bitcoin via that secondary medium. There are people who have set up a digital store. It's pretty much every digital device you've ever imagined. Digital cameras, computers, whatever. You can buy them with Bitcoin directly. So there are literally millions of products you can already buy with Bitcoin, but the number of vendors accepting them is very, very small.
What's your biggest downside risk of Bitcoin?
For me, the biggest downside risk is other currencies, other digital currencies, other cryptocurrencies specifically. So with Bitcoin, it was the first to market, and it's very, very popular, and it cannot be inflated. It's written hardwired into the code that they cannot make more of them. So it's inflation proof from a Bitcoin perspective. However, the biggest risk I see is that you can have other cryptocurrencies come along. So, and they can be limited or they can be unlimited in their nature, but they can be unlimited number of competitive cryptocurrencies. And if people don't perceive the value of the first to market and it's accepted at more places and whatever, over time there could be an instance where cryptocurrencies become so abundant that all cryptocurrencies are worthless. Or it could mean that the premier ones or the ones that were first to market have prestige and have value and also have the network supporting it. I can go into a little bit more about that. It gets a bit technical, but if you want, I can. But the biggest competitor is other cryptocurrencies diluting Bitcoin.
Do the other ones have founders? Because I've always that was the initial thing that I think for myself and a lot of people, they have a problem that doesn't have a founder. So, if it was like, I've explained to people that if Amazon had created it or Apple or Microsoft, it would be much easier for me to purchase it.
Right.
But this one doesn't have a founder. You don't know who did it.
Right, and that's to me, that's actually one of the best things. Going back to that resistance to violence, if there was a founder, like any other competitor to fiat government, fiat currencies, it would have been harassed out of business. It's the fact that it doesn't have a founder gives it so much strength. So,
do the other currencies have founders, or are they anonymous as well?
I don't know, and there will be probably a variation of both. Some will have founders and some won't. It depends whoever wants to take credit for it and acknowledge it.
So tell us about your book.
Okay, so it's called Bitcoin Revolution, Ending Tyranny for Fun and Profit. And like I said earlier, I think the value of Bitcoin is going to rise significantly. And there's, just as a little side note, there's tremendous amount of VC money available for Bitcoin businesses. There's a lot of very wealthy people, very smart, very excited about the concept, desperate to put money into the Bitcoin world, and there aren't enough entrepreneurs coming through. So if you're the type of person who has a great business idea and wants to chase VC money, this is the best sector right now, bar none, to do it. There's more money being offered than there are entrepreneurs to accept it. So I'm very excited about the financial side of it. However, I'm also a loyalist, I guess, from the beginning and the first principles, and the fact that this is a money supply that cannot be inflated and cannot be used to steal money from others via the mechanism of inflation, I think the consequences of that to me are ending. No more central banks. To me, it means no more wars. If people actually had to pay for war, there wouldn't be very few of them. And the social consequences of let's say, a sound money system is, to me, the greatest gift humanity can ever have. And as long as gold and silver won't ever be allowed to be that, because the powers that be will point guns at it to destroy it because it's to protect their profit. They can't do that with Bitcoin. And I can't guarantee it will be a success, but I'm certainly excited for it because it has something that no other competitive currency has ever had.
Max, if somebody wants to reach out to you, where can they go?
If they want the book, they can jump on Amazon Kindle store, Bitcoin Revolution. But we also have successcouncil.com, which deals in all different ways to protect your assets and profit during the coming economic collapse. And Bitcoin is just a very small portion of that, actually. But that's at successcouncil.com, and you can reach me at support@successcouncil.com.
Thank you so much, Max.
Thank you.
Have a good day.